What's up, DeMatha? We're here, 2019 senior show. It's Eric Nigerian,
Carson Kogelnick,
Jake Kane,
Preston Moltz,
and Tommy Halligan.
We got a lot to get to, and a lot of us have a test next period, so we're going to get right into it, alright? First, we're going to start off with just our favorite memory. We're going to go around and just talk about a lot of DeMatha stuff today. So favorite memory we'll start off with.
I immediately go to sophomore year football championship. You know, I want to say we were down 2 or 3 touchdowns to St. John's, like third or fourth quarter.
28-13.
At the University of Maryland, packed house. Amazing comeback. Bo English led us. Like, amazing game.
Yeah, my favorite memory was actually before I was even at DeMatha. It was on my shadow day, and me and my buddy Jack Sheehan hopped out of the car, and I was walking up the stairs to St. John DeMatha Hall, and I just tripped. Completely smacked my face on the stairs, and Mr. Landini said, "Don't worry, I do that all the time." And I knew he was lying, but it was still pretty funny. And yeah, it was even before I was at DeMatha, so that was a good memory.
Classic Landini moment. So actually, one of my favorite memories involves this guy right here. I remember last year in the Gonzaga basketball game, my man hit a 3-quarter shot to end the third quarter, and we just went wild. That was an awesome game, a real hell of a time, and it was a lot of fun. It was just really good memory for me.
Yeah, exactly. He'd been there before.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I did have St. John's written down as well as Carson. But another thing that easy pops into mind, I think it was senior night or sophomore year with like Ryan Allen against Chris Likes of Gonzaga. Yeah, everyone's successful in college right now, but that was a crazy back and forth game the whole time, and that was one of the most fun basketball games I've ever watched in my life.
82-75 final, DeMatha won.
Yeah, exactly.
I think one of my favorite memories, you guys took all the good ones, but one of my favorites a few weeks ago, student-teacher basketball games.
Oh, yeah.
With Karsten over here as Coach K leading us. Against the teachers, we brought a W home for the first time in a while, actually.
I don't want to say Coach Jones was outcoached, but
He was outcoached.
I'm not going to say that. But it was a big win for the students. Great team effort. A lot of fans came out, so that was a great time.
Yeah, we should also probably talk about the bake sale too, considering I just had a Fruity Pebble donut from Shoppers, and it was money. I mean, it was 50 cents, probably the best 50 cents I've ever spent in my life.
Homemade from Shoppers.
Big bang for your buck.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to move on to favorite teacher. There's so many great faculty here, so many people that have been to DeMatha and are still part of the faculty that have come back. So, go ahead. We'll switch it up. Tommy, start us off.
Yeah, for some of the seniors, especially this year, Mr. Holder and Mr. Hurst have both just really showed how they really care about the student as well as the academic, and also how the student develops in life too. Just starting off the class with stuff like how was your weekend and simple stuff like that, taking class time out of it.
College discussions as well.
Yeah, just to develop the relationship between a teacher and student. I think it really goes a long way, and both those teachers have done an excellent job of doing that.
Yeah, the best way I can explain Mr. Hurst is I think he would cut one of his toes off to help us learn something.
Oh, yeah.
Never would it ever
100%.
know, but I think he'd lose a toe for us.
So, Tommy went with some of the younger teachers. I'll just go with a classic answer, Mr. T. That guy's been in here day in and day out for close to 50 years now. Yeah, he's a grinder. Just the stories he can tell and his ability to relate back to us, even, he's been here for a while. He taught some of our dads, which is kind of weird to think about, but, he's just an awesome guy, great DeMatha guy, and just a great man to have around.
Yeah, so kind of piggybacking off Tommy, Mr. Hurst and Mr. Holler. I'll start with Mr. Holler. He's my crime and detective fiction teacher, and he's great. We're writing a paper right now, 8 pages. I'm doing mine on human trafficking, and he's following along with my entire paper, making edits as I go, which it's very, very hard to find a teacher who will follow word for word with your paper and offer you suggestions on how to make it better and improve my writing. And then Mr. Hurst, he is nothing short of a grinder. He is day in, day out, full speed all the time, incorporates so much humor into our lessons and energy.
All gas, no brakes.
Exactly. It makes the lessons go by quicker, smoother. It's an overall great experience in the classroom.
With Howler too, he helped a lot with my senior application essay, and that really helps a lot because colleges do look at that, and he really offers some great recommendations for that.
Yeah. I agree with all your answers. While he's not a teacher, I do think Mr. Pham deserves a big shout out. He does so much work day in and day out. He's here before everybody, he leaves after everybody. I don't think there's anything that he can't do, honestly. And you will never see him without a smile on his face. Just see him, he lightens your day up. And he's just a great person to have around.
Yeah, I think he does one of the hardest, most grinder jobs here at DeMatha.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And he's smiling the most at the same time, which is
Always sort of crack a
coolest
joke.
part.
Yeah, another way to go back on our memories is all the moments in the senior parking lot we've had with Mr. Pham just coming around, unlocking cars after we lock our keys and all that
Many
good
times.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, one of my favorite teachers, first year I had him was this year's Mr. Tomey. Just kind of the laid-back approach in his class, where it's not all about getting a grade or getting something like that. It's more about kind of bettering yourself, and I think that's a really good approach to the classroom.
Sure.
So moving off that, we're gonna go with our best class. So what was your favorite class? Not necessarily the best one, best grade you got in it, but just one that you enjoyed the most or got the most out of.
This year, I think it has to be econ with Mr. Hurst. As everybody said, he's an awesome teacher, and I had him junior year too, so I really enjoy having him teach me. But I also think econ is something that I might want to do in college, so it's been really fun.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to go with crime detective fiction with Mr. Howler. I mean, like I said before, he just makes the class so much better, and it's just like, you feel like you're not even in a classroom because you're like taking in all this material, and you can like use it in life, and everything is awesome. Just the stories we read, the novels we read, everything.
All right, I'm going to piggyback off of what Eric said. I have Mr. Tomey this year for the first time as well, and I just feel like he's more focused on like being a better man and like learning about life more than just getting a grade and doing like busy work. So I feel like I've learned a lot from that class, you know, trying to better myself and become like a DeMatha gentleman and, you know, moving towards the future, not just trying to get an A in a class.
Yeah, I'll go a little bit off Carson with the AP side of economics too. Like a lot of us through the practice tests and kind of the tough curriculum that Mr. Hurst has placed us through. I really think I'll be able to get credit in college. So that's a really big part of making it my favorite class, kind of making college a little easier.
Right.
And also, it's honors biology freshman year with Reeves was always kind of like you kind of have to go through it as a freshman. It's the hardest class, obviously, as a freshman with Mr. Reeves, one of the hardest teachers. Yeah, it really says a lot about DeMatha man. So yeah, it's one of the most memorable and favorite classes about DeMatha.
Yeah.
One of my favorites was sophomore year with Mr. Clark. I think whatever English that was, American Lit maybe.
Oh yeah.
Just going through all those books with him and then watching Malcolm X too, I remember that. Because you just see not as much on the surface, but the way that he would dive into whatever you were doing, and just he was so passionate about it too, but he would make you realize a lot more than kind of the first read.
He sees 20 more connections that you didn't know existed, 100%.
Circle for true.
Yeah.
I have
Classic.
a lot of erase marks on those ones.
Oh, yeah. Well, so we're going to move on. Top senior athlete, you know, just across this year graduating in 2019, any sport, you know, well, for me, spoiler, my senior athlete's going to be Josh Wallace. A two-sport athlete, played football and basketball. Started for us on the defense on the football team, was a great corner, and then did great for the basketball team as well as a guard. So, you know, just the ability to play two sports alone, but then to do it somewhere like DeMatha and do it at a high level is just super impressive.
You know, there's so many to choose from, but my mind automatically goes to my man, DeMarco Helms. Big-time football player. I think even sophomore year he was one of our top receivers. And then he was able to start both ways. And at DeMatha, that's so hard to do. You know, you start on the defense end as a defensive back and as our best receiver this year. He's an incredible athlete. He's going to do great things at Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of tremendous athletes here at DeMatha, but, you know, I think Ryan Salp really caught my eye. On the ice, he's phenomenal. Just watching him skate up and down, scoring goals, playing defense. It's crazy, man. You should love to see it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, you know, banking off of the basketball guys, you know, you talked about Josh Wallace. I think a guy that really came to my mind was Justin Moore. I mean, he was a leader on the basketball floor for us for 4 years. Hurt his sophomore year and still got some solid D1 offers. Ended up coming to Villanova. And, you know, was just a big leader for our basketball team and a great athlete.
Yeah, one of the most surprising things, like a lot of football kids that I kind of like played football their whole life, like all from Maryland, I think, before his freshman year even started.
Yep.
But like Nick Cross, he started playing football his freshman year here at DeMatha, and he'll be going to Maryland next year, probably be able to compete for a starting role as his freshman. Yeah, hope we get out in 3 years, and we'll see a lot of big things from him in college. Him and Eric are both attending Maryland next year football.
Oh, yeah.
That's why
Tommy's going to Maryland too.
That's fun to watch.
I'm not playing football.
No, so what are you going to miss most about DeMatha? You know, we have, I think, one more full week here. What is it that you're going to kind of look back on and probably miss the most?
Yeah, we're going to make the moms cry.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's the brotherhood. You know, there's a real camaraderie here, and not just with the students, but with the teachers as well. You know, all the teachers we talked about today, you really have a good connection with them that I think you don't get in a lot of other places. And, you know, I think, like, we make friends here and, like, connections that are going to last a lifetime.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The brotherhood is just unreal here. Like the connections you make with like teachers, students, like your friends become your best friends become your brothers. It's unbelievable. Like the friendships you make are gonna last a lifetime.
I mean, I can't disagree with them. And then the biggest thing I think is next year in college with bigger classes and more kids on campus and stuff, you won't really have that like personal one-on-one relationship that you can have with a teacher here. And I mean, just the friends that we made, that I won't be able to see these guys every day. We'll have to wait a couple months before we can see each other and come back from school. But you know, I'll just miss, you know, the teachers and the friends that I've made here.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most best things you do with your brothers here is go to the sports events, like the football tailgates, the games, the basketball games. Like, there's really a vibe at those games you really can't describe. Like the sophomore year of our senior year game, like, yeah, you could never replicate another event like that. Even in professional college, it's pretty hard to do that. So like, especially playing against athletes in our conference, like playing against the people that we have at DeMatha, and also playing against some other great competitions. You'll see them in the professional the rest of your life, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think what I'll miss the most is just kind of the simple stuff at DeMatha, not necessarily the classes or the sports, but just kind of like hanging out in the parking lot before school, you know, during breaks, whatever the stuff is like that. But just kind of the little things like that you have when you're here, and something that it's unlike anything else. So nothing that you can really do once you get out of here to get that back.
Right.
So next year we're gonna move on to next year's plans. You know, school, major. Are you playing a sport? Are you planning to join anything like that? So go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, as well. I'll be down the road at University of Maryland next year. Looking to I got accepted to the business program. Two of my sisters have been there. My dad went there, so it's kind of a little family tradition. And I'll look to play club lacrosse there probably. I've been playing for about 10 years now lacrosse, so yeah, I think it'll be fun. And shout out to the lacrosse team tonight, Gonzaga.
Big game tonight.
So yeah, we'll see that in the semifinals, and I'll be talking Monday too. Let's go.
There we go. Sounds good. Next year I'll be going to the University of South Carolina, and along with Tommy, I won't be playing club lacrosse, but I'll try and play club baseball. Like he said, I've been playing baseball my entire life, so I wouldn't want to give that up. You know, they have a pretty good club team there, so hopefully I'll be able to play there, and I'll be actually doing video broadcast journalism there next year, and it's really something I have a passion for, and I really look forward to doing it next year.
Yeah, I'm heading to University of Tennessee in Knoxville. I was going to study business analytics, and I'm going to play club lacrosse, so I'm really looking forward to that. They play in the MCLA. It's a great D1 club conference, so I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm going to go down to Brown in Rhode Island. I'm going to play basketball there. I'm most likely going to study business, but I think I'll get there and figure it out when I see what happens.
Good plan. Yeah, so I'm going to go to the University of Maryland, playing football and study business. We're going to see what happens with that as well. You know, in the business school, but I don't know what we're doing after that.
Here.
Yeah, it's an open road, so looking for that. So we've all been doing video broadcasts for a while here. You know, it's been a great class for us. Obviously, Preston's going to pursue it later, so really that has sparked his interest is a cool thing. What memorable news stories do you remember breaking as a part of video broadcast when you were here, whether it was in the DeMatha community or outside, that was, you know, what we presented on a STAG report or anything of that sort?
For me, I just enjoy like when guys that go to DeMatha like commit or get offers to a school. I think it's really special, not only because we're like proud of them, but like you kind of get the inside like scoop, like when your guys get some offers and they're like getting ready to commit, you can kind of like, hey, give me a wink, where are you going? You know what I mean? Like before like ESPN gets it. So that's pretty cool. And it's just like, you know, the whole school's kind of proud of them when they get an offer, when they commit somewhere, so that's always fun.
Yeah, I love reporting all the big wins. Like I remember sophomore year, right after we beat Spalding 16-1, I was the first one reported on the air, so that was really special to me. That was junior year actually. I reported the overtime win sophomore year.
Josh Brandon falling down.
He was goal. That was a big man.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest thing for me outside of DeMatha was the Cavs Stanley Cup win. That was huge. That was a lot of fun, and I know we were all following that Cup run all the way through, and it was just, you know, so much fun to watch all those games. They were all so exciting down to the wire, and I think that was really exciting for, you know, DC sports fans to finally get that championship and to be able to follow that run. And then we reported on it here in class too, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I went to about I think the last day of school around June.
Yeah, exactly. June 7th, they won the cup.
Yeah, that was a really fun time.
Yeah, exactly.
The end of the school year, the Cavs Stanley Cup, it was a good combination right in the summer.
Yeah, exactly.
Couldn't replace that for anything. But yeah, a lot of the big news stories I would piggyback off Carson. Like a lot of people would kind of have the inside scoop here about like where athletes are leaning towards and stuff like that. So I think that's a really cool perspective we get to have on the recruiting process, because like these huge fan bases are reaching out after like Margot Helms, like Alabama, obviously not a small football fan base, and these people are freaking out.
By no means, no.
Yeah, these people are freaking out about the commitments and everything. But we kind of have a different perspective on the whole thing. So yeah, it's a really cool place to be in.
Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is signing day, because that's such a special day for so many people when they're able to sign and go to college, on scholarships or wherever they're going, whatever they're doing. But it took a lot of work, and a lot of it was done at DeMatha. So you saw those guys from freshman year, or if they transferred in whenever they came in, kind of work their way up, get their offers, and then finally decide. So I always think that's a cool thing to do. And also, while we're on the air, I think we'd like to say thank you to Mr. Revkin.
Of course.
Because Revkin, started this class. We've had such a good time with him. He's a great teacher. Mr. Puffett as well.
Absolutely.
Helping out with video broadcasts, but just kind of sparking our interest. I remember this class starting with my brother Kyle, graduated in 2017. Probably when he was a junior, maybe a sophomore, but he was just telling me when I came in, like, you got to take Revkin's video broadcast class. You get to announce JV basketball games. I just remember hearing those stories about the stuff that they would do, and now the class is becoming so much bigger. Preston finding an interest in it's awesome, and it's just really cool. So thank you, Revkin.
I think also we have to give a shout out to Matt Peterson.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's also a senior like us. You guys never get to see him in front of the camera, but he's the guy behind the camera who sets up the studio for us and runs all the behind the scenes stuff. Got to give a shout out to him too. He works really hard behind the scenes, so that way we can come out here and do these shows for you guys.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that wraps it up for us right now. We're going to have another crew of seniors on here for you in a little bit, right after this commercial break. Thanks.
Came and went like the summertime. Was at a sunset or sunrise. Looking back like where'd the time go? So much for trying to keep this moving slow.
Alright guys, welcome back. I'm here with
Bryce Carter,
Joshua Wallace.
and we're just going to continue right where Eric and the rest of the guys left off. Give you guys some more opinions. We're all seniors. It's winding down. I definitely can see the finish line. And, let's just take a step back and reminisce about the old days. And Bryce, what was your favorite DeMatha memory?
There's not one particular thing I have, but it's just couple things like all together, and one of the biggest things was just the time in the courtyard, in the back parking lot, in the cafeteria. All the debates we had, all those unfortunately running around and stuff. Just everything was just fun, and those times I'm really gonna miss. And also the basketball, football games. Just everything from the St. John's game, St. John's game sophomore year, Gonzaga this year, IMG game. Just everything, and also the senior retreat. That was the last real time we actually got to hang out together as brothers. So I missed it.
I would say the senior retreat, it was kind of fun, being without our phones for 24 hours and just with our brothers, So that was a cool experience. I would do it again. And another, us winning the 2018 championship last year in basketball. That was a great experience because the whole school came out to support us, and that was really fun.
Yeah, for sure. For me, coming into DeMatha has just this big history of winning sports, and I was kind of nervous coming into my freshman year. I don't want to be the freshman class that maybe, stops this big run of trophies, but it did the opposite of that. During the fall season of my freshman year, we won the soccer championship that I went to. It was great, and just a few weeks later, the football championship, and I was just like, what a time to be here for my freshman year, and that kind of fall season freshman year, and just lots of great memories. Moving on, we're going to talk about our favorite teacher / favorite class. So I'll start. I'm probably this year going to have to go with Mr. Holler. We heard it last segment with the other guys. I'm in crime and detective fiction, and Mr. Holler is just a really great teacher. He looks out for all his students, make sure we're all on the straight and narrow path, and just the stuff that he chooses that we look over, whether it's books or movies. Really, he knows a lot of teens and stuff that we'd be interested in. So I think he's just done a great job with that class.
For me, I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Goodson. I had him this year for 2 classes now, British literature and also African American lit now for my second semester seminar. And, I really like him because with Mr. Goodson, I feel like I can just have any conversation with him. And when we're writing this 10-page paper right now, and he actually sent me stuff for my paper because my topic is professional athlete stereotypes for African Americans, and like he would send me emails with links with articles to help me write it, because he's just that type of teacher. He goes above and beyond, and that's exactly why I like him. And also on his senior retreat, he told us a story about his past. And I feel like as a teacher, you can go that deep, come out your way, like on our senior retreat, just come and tell us that story. Like that was really inspiring. That's why he was my favorite teacher.
Yeah, I would have to say Mr. Murphy in trigonometry, because it's a challenging class, but he's always there. Like anytime you want help, he'll come meet with you. Rather than first lunch or willing to help. I like challenges. That's what I like.
We all play some great sports here at DeMatha. From our senior class, who do you think the most outstanding athlete has been? And I'll start with you, Josh.
I would have to say my boy Nick Cross, because he is just a phenomenal athlete. Like he's fast and it's crazy the things he used to do on the field and on the track field.
I'm gonna have to go with DeMarco Helms, Josh's teammate, because what he did in a championship game, like that was just so impressive on all three phases of the game: offense, defense, and special teams. 2 touchdowns, interceptions, fumbled, recoveries, block kicks. It's just incredible.
Absolute beast. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Scott Little. I play soccer with Scott all 4 years. I even knew him before we came to DeMatha, and so just to play with him on the field, it was just so great. He's such a great player, and not only soccer, but he also plays golf. And his season's not over. They play in the Maryland Private School Championships next week. So good luck to Scott and the rest of the golf team. So, guys, we are leaving. What do you say you're gonna miss the most about DeMatha?
For me, it's not one particular thing. It's just I'm really just gonna miss you guys.
Yeah.
Like seeing all the guys I see every day for the past 4 years, just building the relationships I have with you guys, and now basically, they're not gonna go away. It's gonna be hard to like communicate because we're all gonna be in different places. So,
Yeah, I would have to agree with Bryce on that one, because it's gonna be. I came in my junior year, and the atmosphere that DeMatha has is really different. It's really a brotherhood. So that's what I'm gonna miss the most.
Yeah, for sure. Just the people really, just hanging out in the senior lot, everyone from the students to the teachers to, they mentioned it in the last segment, Mr. Pham. It's always great seeing everyone, and I'm definitely going to miss it. Moving on along to future plans for next year. Josh, I'm going to start with you.
Future plans, I'm heading up to UMass for football, and just willing to work, play whatever my coach put me at, and trying to get better in the books as well.
For me, I'm going not too far up the road, going to Towson University, and I'm probably going to study video broadcast. I really like doing this, so I'm probably going to continue doing this. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, for me, I'm going across the pond to England to this American university called Richmond International, and I'm going to be studying international sports management, and I'm also going to be playing soccer as well. And I just really can't wait, and yeah, it's going to be a great experience. Final question now. We've all been a part of the video broadcast journalism class. What do you think the biggest story we sort of broke or talked about in school at DeMatha?
What do you say, bro?
The thing, I would have to go with when Elijah Brooks stepped down and went to the University of Maryland, and Bill McGregor came back, because Bill McGregor, he had a really long history here, and, I was kind of worried, because when I found out Coach Brooks was leaving, I was like, I wonder who's going to be a new coach. When I found out McGregor was stepping in, it's basically like a smooth transition, because, he's been here so long. I'm just excited to see how the football team will continue to, just keep doing well.
Yeah, that was big as me as well, because that's when the whole news camera crew came in. It kind of surprised me a little bit, because that was really crazy when you seeing that.
Yeah, and for me, I think it was sophomore year, and kind of sticking with the football theme. It was when Colin Kaepernick first took that big knee and knelt during the national anthem. And I remember coming to school, and Mr. Sicko, who was a teacher last year, but he's not here this year. He would just always keep us up to date about the news, and just having great conversations about it, and kind of translating it from seeing what you see on the news to just talks and debates at DeMatha is pretty interesting. So that's going to wrap things up. Any final words, guys?
I just want to really thank Mr. Repkin and Mr. Puffett for all the work they've done with me and Sean the past 3 years. You know, they've done so much for us. Every time we do a broadcast, they always give us great feedback and how we keep improving. And, you know, I really want to keep in touch with them next year as I move on to Towson. You know, I also want to thank Matt, because, you know, he does every broadcast with us, and he's the one that really runs our broadcast and makes sure they go smoothly every time.
Well, that's going to wrap things up. You know, for me, just a big thank you to the video broadcast journalism crew. It's just been one of my favorite classes to take. It's really sparked my interest in some possible future jobs. So that's going to do it for us, and thank you.